Good evening, and welcome to another beguiling version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Here's your befuddled and bewildered host, Voice of Doom. Hello. Alright, going to try to do a diatribe. There's a lot going on and I can't really keep up with it. And I come up with a subject and then it's like, should I talk about this? No, I should talk about this. No, I'm mad about this. No, I'm pissed about this. So it's very difficult, and I may not be able to do diatribes much longer because since what I've been saying is coming true, there's really no need for me to warn anyone anymore. Now, a few little snippets and snappets. Went to work this afternoon, and Max was out of the house, and so I usually leave and lock up the house and go to work, but I saw the garbage cans out on the street, so I wanted to bring them in, and the cat was wondering whether he wanted to come in or not. So I left the door ajar and gave the cat a chance to either go in or stay out, and went and put the garbage cans in their place and went to work. I forgot to close the door, let alone lock it. Came home today at night around 9:30, and I saw the door was ajar, and I thought Max might be home, and then I go, wait a minute, I forgot to close the door. So I went in, and I went into my room, and I looked at the living room, and everything was as it should be, undisturbed. That's what's nice about living in the real America, called Northern Nevada. Not saying it's safe all over. I've even been mugged, but nobody stole all my stuff. So I went through all the rooms and I opened every closet door because I do not want to be surprised by somebody who decided to walk in and ambush me. So even though the door was left like I left it, I made sure that there was no one in the house. Because I don't mind them if they kill me, but I just don't want to be scared by a stranger suddenly, bursting into the room. Because that would be upsetting. Just a little aside, because no reason except the world is going mad. I said a long time ago, and every time I do a diatribe practically, when the shit hits the fan, people are going to lose it. And the shit hasn't hit the fan yet, and they're already losing it. I mean, I can't believe that we exponentially got twice as divided, twice as each other's throats, as we were last week. And that was bad. Last week was bad. But now we're more divided. And everybody's blaming everybody, and that's kind of why I wanted to tie in this thing about the blame game, because let's just go back into history and look at the stalwart accomplishments of PetriDish. And what did he do? Well, he opened up the border, and when people started saying this is getting out of hand, there's too many people coming in, he blamed Orangey. He said it's a broken system. That border was broken by my predecessor, and we are doing our best to fix it, and everything is hunky-dory, and the border is secure. Don't believe your own eyes. All right, let's go on to other things. Afghanistan, great success. Something that will go down in history as one of the greatest retreats of all time. when the press finally said, "You kind of really blew it, didn't you?" and it was obvious to everybody in America, or what used to be America, knew that he blew it, he said, "It was my predecessor. He made an agreement that they would be out by May 1st, and so I had to follow his agreement." Now, I've already told you, he threw away everything that Orangey did the first day he was in office. Everything that he could overturn, he overturned, except for the things that he could use for his advantage. So he could blame Orangey for... Orangey was at fault for Afghanistan because he made a deal to get out by May 1st. All right, let's go on. What else? Well, inflation. He more or less blamed Putin, Vlad, the Mad. But he also blamed Orangey because of his mismanagement of the economy. He especially blamed Orangey when inflation first started because he'd only been in office for maybe a year and a half, so it was still possible to say, "My predecessor. It was all his fault, my predecessor." And they say it all the time. Now, let's go on. We're going to build 25 miles worth of wall because, not because my border bald Mayuckus idiot told me that we need to build some barrier because it's getting out of hand. No, we didn't do it for that reason. We did it because my predecessor in 2019 said that these funds had to be used for a wall, and now 4 years later I got to do it. Couldn't have done it back then. So he picks and chooses what he wants to keep in place so that he can blame Orangey for everything. What else? I'm sure I could come up with a few more examples, but let's come to the present day. How long do you think it was before these idiot Kirbys and idiot Sullivans and the rest of the gang talked about the previous administration, made deals, did this and that, and now he made it possible? I don't know how they managed to twist that around to make it Orangey's fault, but they said policies from the previous administration caused this whole debacle. Now let's go on to the debacle, because everyone's blaming everybody. Went to my buddy's house. He was watching Fox News. I saw hordes of people in various cities and campuses shouting the praises of Hamas, not making any bones about it. And when some people had the audacity to question any of these students and said, "Do you agree with the carnage, the slaughter, the dismemberment, and the burning of babies, raping, pillaging, taking grandmothers hostages, taking kids hostages, and starting up this big brouhaha," most of them said, "I'm not sure that actually happened." And me and my buddy were talking about it, and I said, well, I have to be open-minded. I can't just say that I believe everything. I wasn't there, and they can do things with Photoshop. And he's like, no, they killed babies and this and that. And I go, I realize that, but I will leave 0.001% of my brain open to almost anything. Because as some people are starting to say, who are playing the blame game, they're starting to say it's very strange that Israel, with its vast and complicated and very careful, intelligent system and security system, managed to let this thing happen. So it begs the question, if they were asleep at the wheel when this happened, do you think that our current government is ready for anything that could happen in what used to be this country vis-a-vis nuclear warheads? We've always taken it for granted. We have NORAD, We are in great shape. They will never ever drop a bomb on us because we have the most sophisticated radar sonar system in the history of the world. Well, who's manning them, and are they there, and what are they doing? They might fall asleep at the wheel. Or they might figure out that a lot of things that they took for granted don't work because they're in disrepair. That's just nuclear. Let's talk viruses, let's talk bacteria, let's talk chemicals, let's talk infrastructure, sabotage, let's talk EMPs. How prepared are we if the most secure country on the face of the planet lets this sort of thing happen? So you might say it's all a conspiracy by the powers that be to escalate World War III, and it's all an orchestrated thing. You can say that. I mean, I'm open to it. And I was hearing snippets and snappets from people who were witnesses to the carnage, and they were saying how the guys had kind of a blank stare and they were just casually shooting everybody, not really thinking about it. Very casually going about murdering and dismembering people. Now, they can do things with hypnosis and chemicals. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but that's possible. I've got to be open, because it's kind of an optimistic thing with me, because I hate to think that people are actually that callous and that evil that they could just consciously, of their own volition, behead and decapitate babies and rape women and children. And I give them the benefit of the doubt sometimes, just to say maybe they were hypnotized. Maybe there's whole armies of people that are hypnotized to do atrocities. But I believe Hamas is evil, and I don't really care. There's too many things there's too many possibilities. If you open up your mind to everything, we could all be in cocoons, just like the Matrix. So you can't really say what's real and what's not real, especially now. But the reality is thousands and thousands of students and libs are running to the streets chanting freedom to Palestine, when I didn't see that they weren't free. The only reason they weren't free is because their own government was oppressing them. And they blame Israel for the oppression. And their own government was abusing them. And their own government is using them now, trying to convince them to stay in a war zone that Israel has clearly said we are going to attack. Please leave now if you want to live. And Hamas is saying, no, just stay here. Now, who has their best interest at heart? Not Hamas and not the students. And the students, I'm sorry for them. And I'm not sorry like I apologize. I'm sorry for their existence, because they're going to live lifetime after lifetime in misery. And they're going to wonder why. They're going to be a poor little kid born in an alley and wonder why my life is so miserable, because they don't put it all together. So the students are blaming Israel for the atrocities, and some are even saying that it's justice. Some are saying this is justice for years of oppression, which I've seen nothing but good coming from Israel to the Palestinians as far as their infrastructure and helping them. Why would you want your neighbors to live in squalor? If you're in a position to help them, a rising tide and all that. All right. I didn't say a whole lot. I just wanted to get one in and maybe give you something to think about. But the fact of the matter is even, well, I hate to bring this up, but when Schicklgruber did his final solution, they started with bullets, and the guards and Nazis were too upset to see all that blood and all that death and destruction. So they created a more efficient system. Because even the Nazi guards and SS had a smidgen, a small fraction of conscience that said, I don't like doing this. I'm not rationalizing or condoning any of those people. Evil's evil. They're living miserable lifetimes right now for their sins. And many of these students are going to be miserable because they are gaslighting on a cosmic level. And we can't have that. There's going to be a lot of bad things happening in what used to be America. If not by outside forces, then by inside forces. We're going to tear each other apart. You watch what happens. Things aren't going to be good. It's going to be a bad couple of weeks coming up. So get ready for it. I'll try to transmit as much information as I can between now and then, but we all know it's going bad. And Armageddon is nigh. So I'll leave it there. Hopefully somebody likes this. See you later. Bye.